I'd like to thank all of you for being here this morning. Your dedication and professionalism inspires me every day. We all know that Balsz offers the longest school year in the state. There's little doubt that more is asked of you than in other schools, and you rise to the occasion. From our classroom teachers who work endless hours preparing lessons for students, meeting with colleagues to help make their working teams and schools a better place. We have special area teachers and special education teachers who understand the importance of the core curriculum while finding creative ways to provide enrichment and an appreciation for a variety of experiences that can complement the multiple intelligences of students. We have support staff who work behind the scenes in many ways, and in other ways, they're on the front lines every day to improve the lives of our students and our families. Our administrators work tirelessly so that our schools are not only well-functioning, but singularly focused on student well-being. And we have district office personnel who understand that what happens in the classroom is essentially what we're all about. It's been my privilege and honor to work as a teacher, principal, and superintendent serving low-income families in Arizona for 30 years. In fact, I've worked with high-needs populations my entire career. Looking back, I've always gravitated toward low-income communities because I find it rewarding. I feel this is where I belong, and today I'd like to talk to you about some of the things I've learned over the years. It begins very simply. First and foremost, it's believing our students can learn. Believing they're as capable of learning and being successful as children from environments of much greater support. It's a simple statement. All students are capable of learning. And yet, I'm not sure how many people really believe it. This simple affirmation has the power to become a belief that can change people's lives. Every day, we see the faces of the achievement gap. Our challenge is to positively affect the lives of our children in a meaningful way. Our students arrive with so many challenges. It can seem like the external factors of their environment are so steeped in poverty that teaching them on a daily basis can seem like an uphill battle. I sincerely think that in order to change the lives of our students, we must find a way to help them break free of the cycle of poverty. Today, we're going to talk about how together we can change the cycle of generational poverty. Generational poverty is a cycle. It has distinct, perpetual tendencies. It's taught over and over again. It's a way of living and thinking that has been passed down from one generation to the next for hundreds of years. Let's begin by considering the families of our students. Now, notice I didn't say the parents of our students. I made a point of talking about our families, and it's an important point. It's a minor word choice, but an important distinction. When we only talk about parents, it's exclusive. In many cases, our kids do not live with one or either of their parents. When we send letters home that say, "Dear parents," and when we have parent-teacher conferences or hold parent nights, it can leave out a lot of people who may be very important in the life of a child. On the other hand, when we speak of families, it's an inclusive term. Children in poverty very often come from blended families where multiple colorful characters, such as aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, and grandparents, play an important role in their life. We want to promote a sense of family and the shared responsibility that comes with raising children. In order to influence our students, we must understand how important it is to influence the lives of our families and of our students so they understand the important role they play in the life of a child. When we consider our families, we know that many of them have experienced poverty their entire lives. You know, poverty can be a cruel tutor. It can teach people to be afraid. It can teach them to value violence as a way to solve their problems. And it can teach people not to trust others, especially those in authority. People genuinely do the best they can when it comes to raising their children. However, they only know what they've been taught from their environment. And they'll naturally treat others the way they were treated growing up. And we know that in many cases, those living in poverty haven't been exposed to the best parenting examples. This is where the cycle of generational poverty begins. In order to change the direction of the lives of our students, we must begin by changing the way our families see themselves and they see their students and their children. We are setting a vision in our students. To accomplish this, we set a vision for our families. One of the greatest advantages we have working for us is the fact that we're working with children at a stage in their lives where they're just beginning to form beliefs about themselves. If you think about it, if our students were computers, it is this point in their life where they're first being programmed. And that programming can be a powerful force in the way they see themselves for the rest of their lives. My wife and I have been married for 28 years. We have 3 wonderful children. I can remember my daughter when she was young. She would follow my wife and me around nonstop. There was no doubt that she wanted to be like us, to learn from us. Looking back, it seems like I could do no wrong in her eyes. Well, those days are a distant memory now that she's in her 20s. Then she would listen to whatever I had to say. Today, it seems if I just try to give her a little fatherly advice, I immediately hear, "Dad, I know what I'm doing." Does this sound familiar to you, those of you that have teenage children? Somewhere during the maturation of my daughter's life, influences changed from we as her parents being the center of her world to her peers in the media exerting influence. The point I'm making is that we have a unique window of opportunity in which to work, to influence children when the opinion of adults means so much to them. Your influence and that of their family is significant. The key question we want to ask is, how can we leverage that influence to the greatest possible benefit in our search for the solution to generational poverty? When my daughter was young, my wife and I used to ask her, "Stephanie, what kind of doctor do you want to be when you grow up?" It was a subtle message, but it ingrained in her our faith and her abilities. It told her we were confident that she could be a doctor. The only question remaining was, what kind? Today, this year, she'll graduate from ASU and is now applying to go to medical school. We're proud of the goals she set for herself and proud that she's doing this for her own reasons. She's self-motivated. We merely set the foundation for the vision to take root. Okay, let's summarize what we've talked about so far in our search for a solution to the cycle of poverty. First, we believe in our students, we believe they can learn, and we pass along this belief to families. Next, let's talk about our students. I believe it's possible to transform a high poverty population. This is the central focus of the Balsz School District. This is our goal, to deeply believe in our students and their capabilities. It requires a deep grounding in this essential certainty. When you think about it, it requires a leap of faith. In the present sense, they're not supremely successful individuals. They're flawed. They're learning and they're growing. You see more in them than they see in themselves. And by doing this, you are an inertia breaker, essentially changing their educational trajectory. We want to show kids that education is a journey, not a forced march. You are shepherds of our students as they travel on this journey. Statistics show that only 1/3 of our students will graduate from high school ready for college. If the children we teach today succeed only well enough to pass 8th grade and then go on to drop out of high school, is it because we helped them build a 10-foot ladder for a 20-foot wall? In order to be successful in life, our students must develop resiliency and a sense of optimism regarding their future. Did you know that much of the perspective we develop about the world is formed by the age of 6? Some people explain the events that unfold around them with a sense of optimism, others with an orientation towards pessimism. You want to know a secret? I can teach you right now how to promote an optimistic orientation in your students. It's a special gift that will help them view events that affect their lives so they're more likely to see possibilities in their future. You'll help them to see obstacles not as a reason to quit, but an opportunity to grow. To recognize barriers not as roadblocks, but as bridges to a new way of seeing things. Psychologists call these ways of thinking explanatory styles. And here's how it works. When bad things happen, try doing these three things. First, isolate it, meaning bad things happen, but they only affect a small part of our life. It's a unique event, and it's not likely to happen again. Number two, temporalize it, meaning it's temporary. Bad things happen, but they don't last for long. Have you ever heard the saying, "This too shall pass"? And third, when bad things happen, accept and share responsibility, meaning we understand what happened to us and the role we played in the misfortune. We also recognize that while others may have had a part in it, we don't lay the blame. Rather, we share responsibility. Have you ever heard of the elite flying team, the Blue Angels? They have a saying, "Fess up and fix it." That's what we want to teach kids. Accept responsibility, learn from it, and then move on. When misfortune occurs, it can be an ideal opportunity to assess what we've been doing, to ask ourselves, well, how has that been working for me? Teach kids to look for the hidden opportunities in all situations, even bad situations. Well, what about good things? When good things happen, in a very logical way, it's the complete opposite. When good things happen, first, globalize it. This positive event is going to lead to even more great experiences. In a holistic sense, positive fortune benefits the family, the community, the classroom, and as well as the individual. Number two, see the good thing as ongoing. Of course a good thing happened. This positive event will lead to even more positive opportunities. When I was an elementary principal, we used to have morning announcements, and I used to say, good things happen to people who do good things. Some would call this karma. Number three, when good things happen, take credit. For some reason, over the years we passed along, don't break your arm, patting yourself on the back, don't be too proud. That's not the idea. We want to be proud of our positive accomplishments. Take responsibility for how you've helped create the good fortune. This lucky thing in my life is a result of my hard work. There's a saying, luck is the residue of design. It means when someone tells you, you're just lucky, say, yes, I am, and I worked very hard to make sure it happened. So the lesson is, when things happen, whether they be bad or good, it is the way we explain it to ourselves that sets the stage for how we see future events. Life is a series of peaks and valleys. It's surviving the low times or the valleys in your life when things may seem to be the worst, while giving you the proper perspective for the good times, so you don't get too caught up in the moment. I'm reminded of a saying, everything will be all right in the end. If it's not all right, it's not the end. Teach kids to learn and grow by their experiences, whatever comes their way. You can model these beliefs for your students. This is how kids learn. They watch the adults in their life and see how they explain the events that unfold around them, and that's how they learn their orientation. Imagine the teachable moments that are available. As you experience the events of your life, you can share those experiences with your students, demonstrating your explanatory style. Model empathy and sensitivity as you rationalize good and bad events that occur to you and people you know. In this way, you'll be passing along a positive orientation to the future that can change their lives.